The Arctic is a vast and unforgiving landscape. It is home to a unique and resilient creature, the polar bear. Yet the Arctic is changing at an alarming rate due to climate change. The very survival of polar bears is now in jeopardy. Their icy world is melting away, threatening their hunting grounds and their very existence. As temperatures rise, sea ice, the platform upon which polar bears hunt and rest, is shrinking rapidly. This loss of ice forces polar bears to venture further inland or onto less stable ice floes, leading to increased risks of starvation and exhaustion. The warming Arctic is creating conditions that favor the spread of diseases, while the shifting landscape poses new dangers to these iconic creatures. The plight of the polar bear serves as a stark warning about the far-reaching impacts of climate change on our planet. The Arctic is warming at twice the rate of the rest of the planet. This rapid warming is causing profound changes to the region's delicate ecosystem. The most visible impact is the dramatic loss of sea ice. As the ice melts earlier in the spring and freezes later in the fall, polar bears are forced to spend more time on land. Polar bears are not well suited for terrestrial life. They are primarily adapted for hunting seals on sea ice, and their bulky bodies make it difficult for them to catch prey on land. The melting ice is also impacting the availability of suitable denning sites for pregnant females. As the ice thins and becomes more prone to collapse, females are forced to seek out alternative denning sites, often on land or in less stable ice formations. These sites offer less protection from the elements and predators, putting both mothers and cubs at risk. The warming Arctic is not only altering the physical landscape, but also creating conditions that favor the spread of pathogens. Diseases that were once confined to more temperate regions are now encroaching northward, posing a new threat to polar bear populations. One such disease is canine distemper virus, or CDV, a highly contagious and often fatal virus that affects a wide range of carnivores. As ice melts and polar bears are forced to congregate on land, the likelihood of disease transmission increases. The changing Arctic landscape is also leading to an increase in injuries among polar bears. As the ice thins and becomes more unpredictable, polar bears are at greater risk of falling through the ice, leading to exhaustion and even drowning. The increasingly fragmented ice also forces polar bears to swim longer distances, putting additional strain on their bodies. Researchers have observed a rise in the number of polar bears with cuts, abrasions, and broken bones, likely caused by falls through thin ice. These injuries can be debilitating, hindering their ability to hunt and escape predators. The increased risk of injury and mortality from navigating a more perilous landscape adds another layer of stress to an already struggling population. For centuries, indigenous peoples of the Arctic have lived in close harmony with polar bears. Their traditional knowledge and observations provide valuable insights into the changes occurring in the Arctic and the challenges faced by these iconic creatures. Indigenous hunters and elders have witnessed firsthand the decline in polar bear populations and the changes in their behavior. They report seeing thinner and less predictable ice, forcing polar bears to spend more time on land and scavenge for food. The insights of indigenous peoples highlight the interconnectedness of human and animal communities in the Arctic and the importance of incorporating traditional knowledge into conservation efforts. The plight of the polar bear is a stark warning about the far-reaching impacts of climate change. As a keystone species in the Arctic ecosystem, the decline of polar bears has cascading effects on other species and the health of the entire region. Protecting polar bears requires a multifaceted approach that addresses the root causes of climate change while also implementing measures to mitigate its impacts. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions through a transition to clean energy sources is essential to slowing the rate of Arctic warming. International cooperation and collective action are crucial to achieving these goals. This includes supporting organizations working to protect polar bear habitat and reduce human-wildlife conflict. By taking action to combat climate change and protect these magnificent creatures, we are ensuring a healthier and more sustainable planet for generations to come.